Imagine your crime being so bad that you change forensic science forever. Well, this was the case of a man called Colin Pitchfork. So our story starts in Lancaster, 1983, in November, when a young girl by the name of Linda May decided to take a shortcut home. Well, she took a shortcut home. Unfortunately, she did not make it home. So they did a search party to try to find her, and she was found a day later on an abandoned path known by the locals at the time as the Black Pad. She was found there strangled and essayed. The police took the semen and took other bodily fluids that they found on her to do some DNA testing, but it was very fruitless because they did not know how to do it very well back in the days. So they just left the case open. 3 years later, another girl by the name of Dawn Ashworth went to visit her friend down the road and later did not return home. She was reportedly supposed to be home by 9:30, but when she was not arriving home, her parents decided to report her missing and went on a search party for her. She was found 2 days later, strangled, essayed, and unalived. When that happened, the police was very furious and they started looking for suspects. The first suspect they found was a man by Richard Buckland, a 17-year-old young man who confessed under very intense interrogation. And I don't know why he confessed, but he confessed under very severe interrogation, saying that he was the one who unalived Dawn Ashworth and did not know who Linda Main was. With that happening, the police was a bit thinking they had like a lead on the whole cases that was going on, and they thought that they were advancing with the case. While this whole case was happening, a man by Jeffrey Alec by the University of Lancaster was studying with his lab technician where they were actually studying DNAs. And while they were studying DNAs, they had x-rays from the entire family of the lab technician. And while Jeffrey was going through those x-rays, he discovered that those x-rays had similarities and differences. So which means that those differences could actually identify specific people or specific individuals by just their DNA fingerprinting. With that happening, he had a eureka moment and he went viral at the time, and he was the only lab in the entire world who could do such a level of DNA testing. While they were doing all that DNA stuff, the police decided to approach him and wanted him to run DNA tests on multiple suspects they had. But instead of just doing it on the suspects, they decided to take out every young man in the vicinity between the age 16 to 34 and ask them for their blood samples so that Jeffrey could run DNA testing on them to see if they match anybody from. While that was happening, Colin Pitchfork decided he was not going to give his blood samples. So instead, he paid his friend Ian Kelly £200 so that Ian Kelly could give fake blood samples with a fake identity to the police. Now, unfortunately for Colin Pitchfork, Ian Kelly had a big mouth. Ian Kelly went to the local pub and just started talking about how he went to give blood samples and using a fake identity on behalf of his friend. While he did that, a young girl decided to leave the pub and go tip off the police and told them that there was a young man who actually faked his identity. So the police looked into Ian Kelly and had him arrested and gave him up to 18 months in jail, and later also arrested Colin Pitchfork. While Colin Pitchfork was arrested, they interrogated him, and during the interrogation, they discovered that he actually used to flash women since he was a teenager, and about 1,000 women have been flashed. And when they ran his blood samples, his real blood samples this time, mind you, they discovered that he was actually the person who murdered or unalived both the young girls. And with that, which means Richard Buckland was innocent and he just folded under pressure. This was a very huge discovery because this meant that a lot of criminals could now go free, or fake criminals could now go free because they were not actually the real perpetrators and they were just folding under pressure. And they actually sentenced Colin Pitchfork to life, and for every count of assault he got 3 years and he got 10 years for raping. With that, it just changed forensic science forever. Now people can go free, cold cases were opened, and that's how forensic science has changed. Yes, there are still innocent people who are going to jail today, but it's not as frequent as it was back in the early 1980s, 1970s, because then they had no means to actually identify people. Now it's actually less frequent, so that actually just changed forensic science forever. And this is the Black Ledger. This is our first video, whether you saw it on YouTube, whether you saw it on TikTok. This is our first video. Please like, follow, and subscribe. And give me other cases you want me to go into. I'll try and post every single day for everybody. And I hope you guys have a great and wonderful day. Bye.